for an individual who, at the initial point, may have an understanding of things as being permanent. At the initial stage, that sort of grasping at permanence of things could be quite strong and intense. Now, in order to lessen that grip, loosen that grip, you need some form of critical reasoning, which could, even if it can cast a doubt or suspicion in the person's mind as to things being permanent, that has in itself made an impact on the person's mind, because it has at least had the effect of loosening the grip of things being permanent or eternal. Now, that is again not enough. You need further reinforcement of critical reasoning to point you towards a kind of tending more towards the impermanence of things. Even that is not enough. You need a further conviction, and that can be gained through, again, constant reflection. And that can lead to what is known as the inferential understanding or intellectual understanding of impermanence. And that, again, is not enough in order to have a strong impact on your behavior. You have to gain direct insight or intuitive experience of the impermanence of things. And that, again, needs to be further perfected, because the idea is that the grasping at permanence is deeply embedded in your consciousness, that it's not just one insight can dispel it. It's a long process of deepening your insight that would eventually dispel that even as smallest tendency towards grasping at permanence. So this is it's a long process of kind of deepening your insight. So this would be the same in the case of emptiness or any other things. However, on the other side, there are certain aspects of the path which may have less to do with cognitive experiences, which may have more to do with, I suppose one could say, enhancement of the heart, like compassion, bodhicitta, and so on. In these areas, at the initial stage, of course, one has to develop some understanding of what compassion is, and then you have to have some sort of notion of how that could be enhanced. And then as a result of your practice, you may gain at the initial stage some kind of simulated experience of these. When you sit down and think, you may feel you're compassionate, but that compassionate may not be long-lasting, that may not be pervasive, that may not permeate your very being. So what is needed is a further deepening of that experience, so that your compassion becomes spontaneous. It is not dependent upon a sort of intellectual simulation. Rather, it would be a truly spontaneous, responsive to sort of occasions that would demand that response. And through that, again, that experience of compassion could be further deepened, and it becomes universal. There is, again, a different aspect of the path. So it's again here is a long process.
Any 다 탑시야 탑시 똑바지자로 다 무튼다 야게르알이야. 아니 베나 메다보 무슨 통행의 로직. 베나 다미 무슨 통행의 로직. 무튼이 야게르알 탑기 야 로시고야. 탑기 도리도 제대야 땀부 차야다야 디베 누베 탐미를 패야냐 싫어부 좋아제. 탑신이 베 송지체니 도스도고.
So these two aspects of the path are known as, in the technical Buddhist language, the method aspect of the path and the insight or the wisdom aspect of the path. And these two must go hand in hand. These two must be combined, because in order for the insights to be enhanced and deepened, you need the complementing factors from this method aspect, such as compassion and bodhicitta and so on. Similarly, in order to enhance and deepen your realization of compassion and bodhicitta, you need, and also in order to strengthen them, you need the factor of wisdom, the insight, which would sort of, ground them, which would sort of enhance them. So you need, therefore, a sort of an approach where there is a combination or the union of method and wisdom.
다야 델레이 체면로 가소래 pena midabo tobe lotigi ko gendar tengzing lo 들어와다 pena midabo tome pena midabo musul 통이 되잖아요 다 디가다 tengzing loti 매바 차버리디 이네 아다 tengzing loti 되게 야고 가소리 midabo tobe loti 배 가소리 배 즉 고바타미로 해야리야 더동 tengzing loti 중에 느끼게 되거다.
So similarly, in the case of, say, insight into impermanence, although that very insight would enable the individual to overcome graspings at permanence, but that does not mean to say that that path alone would lead to total liberation, because there are many other fetters of mind that constricts the mind, such as grasping at...
liberation
no.
midabo tone lo khora kya 가서 다시 고바타민으로 해야라.
That insight into impermanence and deepening that alone is not enough. Even to perfect that insight, you need further complementary factors, because there are other fetters within your mind. It's not just permanence, grasping at permanence, but also grasping at independent reality, objective reality of things, grasping at abiding principles, or grasping at intrinsic reality. So these need to be counteracted through, again, developing insight into emptiness. So what you see here is a very complex process of progression of an individual's level of consciousness through spiritual processes towards perfection. Your Holiness, is there a difference between thought and action relating to cause and effect? That is to say, can a thought cause an action and vice versa?
Peji, 맞아요. 레시전에 셈벨레가 상담으로 셈벨레 상담이나 사무랑 군우랑 가는 거 군우 소리다.
Of course, when we talk about the Buddhist concept of karma or karmic action, it is not confined to the bodily action alone. It also embraces the mental acts or emotional acts, if one could say. For example, when we talk about acts of covetousness or harmful intention, and these need not necessarily manifest in behavior. One can have the full action of these thoughts without being expressed in action at all. So one can see a completion of these acts even at the level of mind or thought. Your Holiness, it is a well-known fact that you are a very busy person with many demands on your time. Could you advise a lay person with home, family, and work demands how to develop a systematic schedule or a pattern of practice? Systematic pattern. The routine. Generally speaking, we must know that when we talk about practicing the Dharma or doing, meditating on the Dharma, we must know that it is something that needs to be done 24 hours of the day. So that's why in the traditional Buddhist explanation, we make a distinction between actual meditation sessions and post-meditational periods. The idea being that both while you are in the meditative session and also when you are out of it, you should be fully within the realm of practice.
당문에 취역이지 남주 동성 뭐만 튼성들 튼진난저디 즉 가서다 튼성 걸려야 아니 즉 취어도 튼버지 영향이 그 누버도 튼거리 주겠어지 배랑 안 주지 가서 로제 배주셔야지 콜로 사야지 가르쳐놔서 그래 로 봐야 된다.
So, in fact, the post-meditational periods are a real test for strength of your practice. Because one could say that during the meditation, in some sense, you are equipping yourself so that when you come out of your meditation session, you are better equipped to deal with the demands of the everyday reality of your existence. This is analogous to recharging your battery. The very purpose of recharging your battery is that so that you could use it to run something. So similarly, once you have equipped yourself in your meditation through sort of whatever practices that you engage in, as a human being, you can't avoid the daily routines of your existence, be it interacting with others or all the everyday realities of your existence. These are something that, as human beings, you cannot avoid. And it is during these periods that you should be able to live according to the principles of your Dhamma practice, and that is the real test.
So, the reason that Kora Kasore, as let go to the does examia subject Jayagi, some does matter house. The next Samstan does the comedy and any sort of Nisha Tuchi or Shell for those man. The young Kormi church to Rotiachi, the younger one. And Bezos came much about the church to be in the culture in Bezos, much about the young.
So, of course, at the initial stage, as a beginner, you do need sort of periods of concentrated meditational practice so that you have a kind of at least a base from which you can begin. So this is very crucial. And then once you have established that kind of base, then of course you will be able to then adopt a way of life where your daily activities, everyday activities of your life could be at least be made to accord with the principles of the Dharma. So what it does point to is the importance of making an effort. So without effort, there is no way that we can integrate the principles of Dharma in one's life.